Tonight on News Channel 5 at 10, the Secretary General of the United Nations says he's as hopeful as ever for a diplomatic settlement after meeting with Saddam Hussein in Baghdad.
The Soviet army imposes a curfew in the capital of Lithuania after 13 people are killed in a crackdown.
I'm Jean Jackson in North County, where day 3 of the hunt for a man who shot a North County officer results in many arrests, but no suspect. I'll have details coming up.
News Channel 5 at 10 is next on St. Louis's 24-hour news channel.
Channel 5, KSDK, St. Louis. Now 24 hours a day. This is News Channel 5 at 10.
Military exercises are closer to becoming the real thing. No change tonight in the Mideast crisis as we get closer to Tuesday's deadline. Good evening, I'm Kate Quinn.
And I'm Rick Edlund. January 15th is now less than 2 days away. That's the UN deadline for Iraq to withdraw from Kuwait. And so far tonight, there is no sign of any withdrawal. United Nations Secretary General Javier Perez de Cuellar did meet with Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein today, leaving Iraq saying God only knows if there will be war. President Bush says Saddam will be making a tremendous mistake if he refuses to give up Kuwait. And meanwhile, the Iraqi leader has reiterated his country is ready to fight to keep conquered Kuwait.
The Secretary General of the United Nations made a last-ditch effort for peace in the Middle East today. Javier Perez de Cuellar left a 2-hour meeting with Saddam Hussein, carrying only hope that war will not break out. Perez de Cuellar's day began with a meeting with PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat. He would not meet with Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein for another 6 hours, a wait seen by many as an intentional Iraqi snub of the UN leader. As he kept Perez de Cuellar waiting, Saddam Hussein met with the leader of a Japanese opposition party and other Iraqi officials. Finally, after a 2-hour meeting with Saddam, Perez de Cuellar said God only knows if there will be war or peace.
But are you optimistic, sir?
I already said I am as always hopeful.
Are you as hopeful
I always
when you
hopeful. For me, the important point is that everybody wants peace and everybody wants to act in good faith in order to find a peaceful solution to the problem.
At a chaotic news conference, PLO leader Yasser Arafat, a close ally of Saddam Hussein, insisted that peace was still possible.
I think that there is a big chance to avoid war.
Why do you feel that way?
Because I'm sure that no leader have the right to start war, to start the international disaster and the international catastrophe.
Tonight, Perez de Cuellar is in Paris for talks with French President Francois Mitterrand. Hussein says any last-minute peace initiative would be up to the Americans because he says they are the ones raising the slogan of war.
Okay, meanwhile, President Bush is waiting for word from Perez de Cuellar on that Baghdad meeting.
We have not had a direct report from Perez de Cuellar, and there is a report, all I saw as to what he said at the airport, but I have not had contact with him. He told me he would call me, so I expect to hear from him when he returns.
Perez de Cuellar will meet with the UN Security Council in New York tomorrow.
Secretary of State James Baker says there is still time for a peaceful resolution, but only Saddam could bring one about. But Baker warns the deadline stands.
As we've said now for many, many weeks, January the 15th is a serious deadline. It is a real deadline. It is a deadline that is embraced in a solemn United Nations Security Council resolution adopted after extensive consultation and debate.
Baker was in London meeting with British Prime Minister John Major.
Well, if war does take place in the Persian Gulf, many experts say air power will determine the outcome. And there it appears the United States has a decided advantage. The United States can throw more than 1,300 aircraft and hundreds of helicopters at Iraqi forces and positions. Some will pound Iraqi airfields and missile sites repeatedly. Others will opt for quick surgical strikes.
We want about 3 to 5 minutes, and we're going to give him the most violent 3 to 5 minutes that they've ever seen.
The Iraqis will counter with some 500 planes, almost all Soviet-made. Most of their anti-aircraft defense also comes from the Soviets. SAM missiles use radar and ground control electronics to zero in on air targets. But Allied radar and jamming planes are supposed to be able to dump electronic trash on Iraqi radar.
They've been supplied by different countries. They're fairly advanced in the electronic field. It's their level of competence in it that would be the question.
Competence will be the key with Hawk anti-aircraft missiles. Iraq took 100 of the U.S.-made missiles from Kuwait. Hawks can defeat most electronic jamming, but do the Iraqis know how to use them? Many experts believe the U.S. should be able to knock out Iraqi air capabilities within 96 hours or 4 days. Well, yesterday, all 3 of Missouri's Republican congressmen voted in favor of the resolution authorizing the use of force in the Gulf.
But the vote split. Missouri's Democrats, Congressman Richard Gephardt was one who opposed the resolution.
And to try to do in the days ahead. I hope that there is not a war. I thought it was important, though, that the Congress debate.
Certainly no one wants to see war.
Gephardt held a town hall meeting today at Melville Senior High School where the Gulf crisis dominated discussion. The Democratic congressman talked about his trip to Saudi Arabia last August. He made the trip after the first wave of troops went in. Gephardt voted against immediate use of military force, favoring instead the use of economic sanctions against Iraq.
My belief was that sanctions were the right policy, that you knew when they started that they were going to take a long time to take effect, that it wouldn't happen in 5 months, it may take a year, it may even take a year and a half, but that if they would work, it would be preferable to the loss of life on both sides and the unpredictable consequences that would come.
Gephardt says he prays for President Bush and Saddam Hussein that they both do the right thing. All across the country, including St. Louis, people are calling for peace.
Because this population doesn't want this war.
We need to challenge ourselves.
Today, nearly 3 dozen local organizations representing the St. Louis Forum for Peace in the Persian Gulf rallied at the Learning Center in the Central West End. Participants spoke out against war and urged the U.S. government to allow economic sanctions time to work. Well, the question of war or peace is expected to be answered in the next few days.
And News Channel 5 will keep you posted as to the latest developments right here on St. Louis's 24-hour news channel. Well, in another troubled part of the world tonight, Lithuania's president says his people are ready to die if there's a war with the Soviet Union. Western nations are condemning today's Soviet crackdown on the Republic of Lithuania. 13 people are dead in the capital of Vilnius. President Bush says the turn of events is deeply disturbing.
We condemn these acts, which could not help but affect our relationship. At this hour, the United States and the West will redouble our efforts to strengthen and encourage peaceful change in the Soviet Union.
The president strongly appealed to Soviet leaders to stop using force.
In local news tonight, 38-year-old North County police officer Joanne Liscombe continues to fight for her life, while hundreds of fellow officers keep up the search for her assailant. News Channel 5's Gene Jackson followed day 3 of the North County manhunt.
Detectives returned to the crime scene today, searching for any new evidence, including a second bullet, which may have been fired when Officer Liscombe was critically shot in the back of the head early Friday. No bullet was recovered. But new, vital information did surface today. A new witness who actually saw the officer standing face to face with the gunman.
When he drove by, he slowed and looked to see what was going on. And the officer glanced over at him, and he had occasion to look at her and also the suspect, and we feel that he got a very good look at the individual.
A good description and a better composite, which includes more details about the gunman's clothing. He was wearing a blue nylon jacket with a zipper front and gray jeans. The rest remains the same. A black male, aged 30 to 40, 6 feet, 200 pounds. The updated composite quickly made its way to officers manning roadblocks on the streets.
Okay, this is the latest composite we have of the shooting suspect.
While the roadblocks were strictly informational, they did net several fugitives and numerous weapons. But none of those arrested nor their guns had any connection to Friday's shooting. What does appear to be getting results, though, is the $10,000 reward posted yesterday for information on the gunman. Officers have received numerous calls since then, but tipsters are refusing to identify themselves.
We have developed a system wherein if anyone has information, they can call, and they will be assigned a code number, and they will not have to actually divulge their identity, and they would be able to claim the reward.
From a command post here at Kevin Elementary, officers from all over St. Louis will continue their roadblocks throughout the evening, concentrating on the area around the crime scene and the time around which Officer Liscombe was shot early Friday morning. In North County, Jean Jackson, News Channel 5.
Officer Liscombe's condition has shown no improvement since surgery to remove a bullet from her brain Friday morning. She is still listed as very critical.
A South St. Louis neighborhood continues its search for a missing 11-year-old girl. Alyssa Self-Braun of the 3800 block of Humphrey left for school early Friday morning and hasn't been seen since. When last seen, Alyssa was walking down an alley to catch a school bus at 6:30 Friday morning. Alyssa's family doesn't believe she ran away. The girl is described as 11 years old, 5 feet tall, about 80 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Meanwhile, an elderly North St. Louis man is in police custody tonight in connection with his wife's suspicious death. News Channel 5's John Noel reports St. Louis homicide detectives are investigating the possibility the woman was beaten to death.
Neighbors say Gwendolyn Mayfield talked about leaving her husband.
One time she spoke about leaving, going away, and I guess it's her son, somebody she was gonna go to, and said she didn't think she was coming back.
Mayfield never did leave, and this morning an EMS crew called police to the Mayfield home in the 4100 block of Carter after finding the 74-year-old woman dead on the dining room floor. Police say it appears Mayfield was beaten to death, but they won't know for sure until the city medical examiner finishes an autopsy. Mayfield's husband, however, has been taken into custody. Police say he appears to be mentally unstable. Neighbors say Gwendolyn Mayfield told them her husband's mental state had been deteriorating for some time.
At times, she did say that she was afraid. She wanted to leave once because she's afraid. I think she was afraid that he would do something to her.
Mayfield reportedly told police he didn't recognize the woman he had been married to for more than 40 years and didn't know how she ended up on the dining room floor. In North St. Louis, John Noel, News Channel 5.
Mayfield's husband has been taken to Malcolm Bliss Hospital for psychiatric evaluation.
Being out of work is something more St. Louisans are having to face every single day. Next on News Channel 5 at 10, Jeff Fowler will join us with a preview of his cover story series, Recession, Insecurity, and Survival.
And later on, we'll visit with a young man who could become part of your family. Stay with us. In the next few weeks, thousands of laid-off McDonnell Douglas employees will be trying to find new jobs. The cancellation of the A12 project will add 5,000 more people to the growing number of unemployed in our St. Louis area.
All this week, News Channel 5's Jeff Fowler will look at our shrinking job market, and he joins us now with his cover story series, Recession, Insecurity, and Survival. Jeff?
Okay, the cancellation of the A12 project is not creating a jobs problem, only adding to it. Already there are many people who have been trying to find work for months, only to find there's nothing out there. McDonnell Douglas employees learned the bad news last week. The A12 project was canceled and 5,000 jobs will be lost.
They had that big layoff back in the spring, and now they're hitting it again, and you know, the unemployment around here is tough now. All it's going to do is get tougher.
While many MAC employees will get counseling and support, they will not get a new job. And that is what will become most frustrating for the newly laid off. Because we have found hundreds and hundreds of workers, many unemployed for the first time, who have been searching for months without finding a job. White-collar jobs have been hit especially hard. State job service offices are seeing former managers and supervisors who can't find work. Many have been looking for months.
It's more than frightening, it's traumatic. It just scares the death out of you. It ruins your family life, your social life, and you name it, it's on your mind constantly.
A lot of closed doors. Companies are afraid to do any expansion. If anything, they're cutting back. And even to get an informational interview, it's real tough.
And experts say few are financially prepared for a long layoff.
Typically, unless there's some unusual circumstances, I'd say most people are really ill-prepared to financially to take care of themselves. And we find a lot of times they move to other careers, maybe lower paying jobs as a way really just to bring in some income.
Frustrated, some people turn to retraining, trying to find a career that is recession-proof. Others start their own businesses. And now, with the recession growing and more layoffs coming, finding a new job is going to take even longer.
You know, there's a rule of thumb in our business that for every $10,000 of salary, it takes about a month to find a job on average. And that's an average, and that's when times are good. So if you're in a $50,000 assistant plant manager job, you're looking at 5 months.
All this week at 10, we'll look at which jobs are vulnerable in this recession, the best places to look for work if you're laid off, and how you can begin to prepare financially in case you lose your job. And tomorrow night at 10, we'll hear from many of those who are already going through the frustration of trying to find work in this tough economy.
Trying times.
Scary. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. A financial nightmare has begun for thousands of St. Louisans who are starting 1991 without a job.
Tonight, News Channel 5's political analyst Senator Tom Eagleton looks at one reason for the layoffs with the A-12 program.
With respect to the McDonnell-Douglas situation, an economist said this, quote, "This A-12 business is not an isolated event, but is symptomatic of a longer-term problem for the country. There is pain in perestroika, and the A-12 is part of the pain. Any area that relies on major defense spending dollars should be prepared," end of quote. When President Bush declared that we had won the Cold War, he and Congress then put the defense budget on a downward glide. The A-12 was designed to attack targets deep inside the Soviet Union, avoiding sophisticated Soviet air defenses. The end of the Cold War made the A-12 a less imperative weapon system. That doesn't ease the pain for 5,000 dedicated, talented, and hard-working McDonnell-Douglas employees and their families. Indeed, there is pain in perestroika. Lots and lots of it. I'm Tom Eagleton.
Senator Eagleton's opinions are not necessarily those of the management here at News Channel 5. Well, some good news. Finally, a quiet weekend weather-wise.
Meteorologist J.R. Kurtek is next to tell us if it will stay warm enough to melt all that ice. Stay with us.
Well, ice isn't only a problem in our area. Today, it sent First Lady Barbara Bush to the hospital. Mrs. Bush was wheeled into the White House today after suffering an accident at Camp David. It seems she slammed into a tree while sledding down an icy hill. The First Lady broke a bone in her left leg. Doctors say it should take about 6 weeks to heal. And meanwhile, her husband, the president, joked that the tree sustained no damage. I guess it's a good sign in all of this that he still has a sense
little
of humor.
Right. Well, a lot of St. Louisans know how treacherous this ice can be.
Terrible.
And a lot of injuries here.
We still have a coating of ice across the metro area, as a matter of fact, but temperatures over the next 5 days will be pushing to above the freezing mark, so we should get a good opportunity to thaw out. Across the area tomorrow, if you have any travel plans across the entire United States for that matter, things won't be too bad. We'll have a little bit of moisture pushing in our direction from the south, but only some light showers for the most part through Arkansas and down into the Gulf Coast. Some light snows up through the Great Lakes and into the northeast. The most significant moisture pattern up in the Pacific Northwest, where there'll be some rain, and in the higher elevations, some snows. Now, as far as temperatures for tomorrow, we will be seeing high temperatures a little bit above average for the central United States. Denver, Colorado, for instance, 48 degrees. But off in the southeast, Miami only up to 72 degrees, a little bit below where they should be for this time of the year. Outside we go. Temperature right now pretty mild for this time of the year. And this is the Sarah sculpture, I think, and a little bit of light in the background. Oh, that's Television Plaza in the back of the part of your screen. So if you wonder where Channel 5 is, we're right across the street from the Sarah sculpture. 37 degrees the current temperature, and that is the high temperature for the day. 73% the relative humidity. Winds are out of the southwest at 8 miles per hour, and the pressure is falling. Across the two-state area, we have had a clearing trend over the past few hours. Clear now across the western portions of the state. Still clouds socked in across the east side and further east into the Ohio River Valley and the Great Lakes. We can widen the view and show that this is an extensive moisture pattern that stretches up into southern Canada. We have a little bit of a dry slot back off to our north and west. We'll see fair skies for the overnight period, and then for tomorrow start out with a bit of sunshine, but then another moisture pattern will be moving in from the west, and it looks like that associated front will be pushing in our direction, so we'll start to see the clouds increase rather rapidly as we head through tomorrow, and then by tomorrow night the clouds will have us socked in once again. and before some rain moves in. For tonight, we have a weak wind shift line pushing in from the west. As we head through tomorrow, that wind shift line will push through. It will support some clouds, and down to our south, some rains. Now, as soon as this starts to weaken, it's going to strengthen right back up again. So by Tuesday, we'll have a full-fledged cold front on our hands, and it will be stalled just off to our east. Now, as some moisture rides in over the top of that front from the south, we'll have a good chance of some rain. Now, on the onset of the pattern, and before it ends, late Tuesday night and into Wednesday, the rain could be freezing rain. It is a pattern that we'll have to keep our eye on rather closely. For tonight, we'll have fair skies, low temperatures down to around 33 degrees with a southwest wind at 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little bit of sunshine. I think overall, though, more clouds than sun. Highest temperatures up near 43 degrees with the winds continuing from the southwest. In the next 5 days, temperatures will remain above freezing, so again, a good opportunity to thaw out. By Tuesday, though, that chance of rain, 39 degrees for the high. Wednesday, 37 degrees, but we start to warm up from there. Mostly sunny for Thursday, 39 degrees. For Friday, partly sunny, highs at 42. Still a little bit of thawing took place during the day today, but with temperatures now at around freezing, we'll see a little bit of a slippery spot.
43 degrees
Tropical.
tomorrow. That'll be wonderful. Get out the suntan lotion.
I don't think that anybody will be complaining about it, that's for
Not
sure.
at all.
Thanks, JR. Well, the year 1991 is new, and so is the young man we meet tonight in Karen's Kids. 2-week-old Adam is ready for adoptive parents, and he recently charmed Karen Foss.
Look at Lord. The saying is, good things come in small packages, and here's proof positive. 2-week-old Adam, very small and very sweet. He weighs in at 7 pounds 5½ ounces, and he's doing great. Like a lot of us, Adam has a little winter cold, but basically here's a very healthy little boy. He was born to a healthy mother who received some prenatal care and who abused no chemical substances. Adam demonstrates a very keen, alert interest in his environment for such a young infant. He watched the movements of the camera closely and turned his head to follow the sound of both new and familiar voices. He has a strong grip and responded easily to being held and cuddled. This is what Adam needs plenty of, attention and affection, and he's ready for it. He's legally free for adoption, and all that's left is to find the right family to include him. For News Channel 5, I'm Karen Foss.
To learn more about Adam or other infants ready for adoption, call Adoption Associates. The number in St. Louis is 367-1557. And that's the news and weather. Thanks for joining us.
But there's much more to come. The playoff road ends for the Bears and the Bengals. Here with Sports Plus is Drew Smith. Drew?